Hey, what's up guys? It's Cypher. Today we're ranking every season of Fortnite from the very first season all the way until Chapter 2, Season 5. We're starting this year off strong, so shout out to everybody who has subscribed. If you're not currently subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 5 million subscribers. All right, we're starting off with the original Fortnite. This is really before we had seasons, before we had battle passes, the OG Fortnite that came out in September 2017. Fortnite released as Save the World, and you know, they started off with that, but then they realized that a lot of people wanted to play a battle royale, so they came up with Fortnite Battle Royale. It was a very rushed project, but they put it out and it took the world by storm. A lot of the OGs started playing Fortnite during the first season. Even though we remember this season very fondly and we have a lot of good memories, especially when everybody was still a noob, there were still a lot of problems with this season. We were just too new to the game to really realize it. And a lot of the times when we think back about some of these older seasons, nostalgia takes over. The reality is that if this season was what we were currently playing today, people would have so many issues with it. I'm not going to really say this was a bad season of Fortnite because it was their first ever launch. I'm going to put this in the average category. The first season of Fortnite, this is before we had seasons. I'm going to say it was average, but it was the first time a lot of us played the game. And for that, it will always have a special place in our hearts. All right, Fortnite Season 2. This was the battle pass where we had the Black Knight and the Knight set and a bunch of other cool skins. This was the first time we actually had a battle pass. Before this, there were no battle passes. This is Fortnite as it was approaching its peak popularity early on. And really a lot of people were jumping onto the game and getting into it. I remember back then when Summit and Ninja and CDN and everybody was really just streaming nonstop Fortnite. Season 2 was really one of the bigger seasons that had a lot of the mainstream streamers and YouTubers all over Fortnite. It was also the season where we got things like the campfire, the chug jug, minigun, impulse nades. So we were finally getting new items. We finally had a battle pass. This season was pretty solid and it really stepped Fortnite's game up. And for that reason, I'm going to put Fortnite Season 2 in the good season category. All right, next up, we have Fortnite Season 3. This is like the OG Reaper John Wick skin and the astronauts. We had some pretty decent map changes as well. Junkyard being added and a few other small map changes around the map. You know, we also had a couple new items that were coming in with Season 3. We had llamas were first introduced. C4, which was really overpowered. We even had hunting rifles, LMGs, porta-forts. Things were getting really, really crazy. And the addition also of the guided missile, which gave people a lot of, you know, clip opportunities and crazy moments went down. It wasn't a huge step up from Season 2 necessarily. We were just getting more of the same. But at the end of the day, this season, in my opinion, was pretty average. And the reason why I'm going to put it in the average category is because it was basically similar to Season 2 with a few additional things. But things didn't really ramp up in the Fortnite world until Season 4. All right, next up, we have Fortnite Season 4. This is when things started to get really spicy. It was like the superhero battle pass with some significant map changes. But what really set Fortnite Season 4 apart was the first ever Fortnite live event, the rocket launch. On June 30th, 2018, we got our first ever Fortnite live event, and we finally got to see that there is a story that is being written. This first event was absolutely wild. It was the first time we really saw a video game do a live event, and it went so smoothly. And this was like the first time we realized like Fortnite is really setting itself apart from other games. Season 4 also brought things in like the jetpack, bouncers, our first vehicle, which was not really a vehicle, it was a shopping cart, but we still had our fun with it. It also brought dualies, the thermal AR, and a few other small things. Season 4, I'm going to put it in the best, or is it going to be in the GOAT category? Let me know what you think in the comments down below if you agree whether it should be GOAT or best. I don't think it should be anything less than that because this season really did set Fortnite apart from all other games out at the time. Next up, we have Fortnite Season 5. This one was a little bit tricky because at the beginning of Fortnite Season 5, we had the addition of the P90. And I don't know if you guys remember, the original P90 that came out was so overpowered that people used to just run 4 P90s and some shields as their loadout. It was so strong from close, medium, and far range. And it stayed in the game the way it was for at least a couple weeks, and it was causing so much destruction. So the beginning of Fortnite Season 5 was a huge L because it was just dominated by the P90. And not long after that, we had the addition of the drum gun They introduced the heavy sniper, double barrel. All these were really strong weapons that kind of just shook up the balance of the game. Season 5 had a lot of complaints, especially early on, and it took a while for them to even make adjustments to the P90 and the drum gun. Eventually, we got Kevin the Cube introduced in Season 5. This was the beginning of the story with Kevin the Cube, and the Battle Pass was somewhat memorable. There were some cool skins added with the Season 5 Battle Pass, but due to its bad start and overpowered weapons that were added without really any balance fixes to them until much later seasons, I think Season 5 is unfortunately going to have to be put in the average category. Definitely a step down from Season 4, and definitely a lot of complaints regarding the spam meta that the P90 and drum gun created. All right, next up we have Season 6. Season 6 is when we finally got the quad launchers, or the quad crashers, I mean, the 4-wheel quad crashers that you can use to fly around the map. We finally got some pretty cool, interesting skins. I think the Season 6 Battle Pass was pretty strong. In terms of additions to the game, the Quad Crasher was a good addition, especially for trickshotting and rotating around the map. They added the Ice Trap, I believe. They did add the Quad Launcher, which a lot of people hated. It was a very strong rocket launcher, shot 4 rockets before you had to reload. They also added the 6-shooter, which was really, really crappy to pick up off drop because it was just not a good weapon, and there was a lot of them all over the map. So sometimes you just land, grab a 6-shooter, and just die to a pickaxe because 6-shooter was just awful. They also added the crossbow, which was also very weak. So some weak weapons being added: the 6-shooter, the crossbow, and then a very overpowered quad launcher. We did get the AKs, which were okay. Also, dynamite balloons got added, which were a fun meme item. But I still think it wasn't as bad as Season 5. But I don't think I want to place it in the good category necessarily. I feel like if I could place it in between good and average, I would. I just don't feel right placing it next to Season 2, which I think was a really good season. Yeah, you know what? Let's just put Season 6 in the good category. I think the Battle Pass and the Quad Crasher were really good additions. We might swap it to average later on, depending on how this list finishes out. All right, Fortnite Season 7. This was the Ice King. He turned the whole map into snow around Christmas time. This was also when we got the planes. We currently have planes in Fortnite, but they are not the planes that were in Season 7. Season 7 had some crazy planes that were so overpowered and so frustrating, especially in competitive Fortnite. We also got the addition of the Infinity Blade, which completely ruined an entire Fortnite tournament. We got the Boombox, which was a really obnoxious item. We did get the gold and purple pump shotguns. This season had so much wrong with it. I think the only thing that really saved it was eventually they implemented Siphon into the game later in the season. But I don't think that really saves the season. This season had so much frustration. It was a bad season. This is going to be the first bad verdict. Even though I had fun playing every single season, you know, we got to rank these. We got to be honest with these, okay? Next up, Fortnite Season 8. We got the infantry rifle added to the game. One of my favorite weapons. Also, Season 8, at this point, Siphon is enabled in all modes. We had Siphon for a good amount of time. We also got the Peely skin, a pretty good season battle pass. The Tier 100 skin, probably one of the weaker Tier 100 skins. There wasn't a lot of fans. They also added the treasure chest. Lazy Lagoon was introduced as well. Some pretty significant map changes this season. Mix that all with Siphon as well. Season 8, I think, was a pretty good season. Probably one of the best seasons. You know, I'm going to put it in the best category really because of the Siphon and the amount of fun that we had playing, you know, duo pubs with Nick Merckx and landing tilted towers and just going for 30 and 40 eliminations per game. It was a good time. I think this season was one of the best seasons ever. So I'm going to put Season 8 as best. All right, now we're jumping into Season 9, okay? This was a very interesting season because this is the first time that they vaulted the pump shotgun and they introduced the combat shotgun. We also got some pretty big changes. Retail became the Mega Mall store, and Tilted completely changed. I wasn't really a fan of the new Retail and the Neo Tilted. The build grid over there was really bad. First week of the combat shotgun was actually bugged. I remember Daquan showing the combat shotgun used to just not do enough damage. Eventually the combat got fixed / buffed, and it became the strongest weapon to ever be in Fortnite. And even when the pumps returned later in the season, No one really used them because the combat was just way too good. It had the range, it had the firepower, it had the accuracy. We also had those turbines around the map. I was a fan of those. They were good mobility, but season 9 kind of started going in the wrong direction, in my opinion. Things started kind of going out of hand, especially with the vaulting of the pump. I feel like anytime they vault a pump, it's not a good thing. They also added hotspots in season 9 where sometimes there was these like floating drones that you can destroy for loot, and it was kind of random. I think that was a cool addition. I feel like that's something that they could potentially bring back in this chapter 2 of Fortnite, just because it would create newer hotspots and people would land at certain locations that they usually wouldn't land if there was more dense loot there. Season 9, we did get probably one of the best live events ever, by the way, the mech versus monster fight. That was one of my most memorable live events, and the choreography and fight scene that we got to, watch live in game was absolutely fantastic. And Fortnite just kept pushing the live events even more. I think overall, season 9 was a pretty average season. The removal of Tilted kind of hurt. The removal of Siphon also hurt, and the vaulting of the pump. All right, I know you guys are waiting for this one. Fortnite Season X. This is when a lot of people stopped playing Fortnite. Like, a lot of people really just stopped playing it. And when I say a lot of people, I'm talking about streamers and fellow friends who used to play the game. They just got fed up. The battle pass was not that memorable because it was just upgraded skins from previous battle passes. We had way too many changes and way too many things going on at once. Every POI pretty much had a thing with it. We had the taco dance at Greasy, the prop hunt, we had zombies in retail. It was just a complete mess. Season X had way too many issues. There was a lot of problems. The map was a complete mess with all the POIs having different properties. We also got the introduction of mechs. Like, the mechs really came in and wrecked a lot of things. So many rage moments for the mechs. Mechs were in competitive as well and did have a huge impact on competitive and really affected negatively the competitive scene. But it also had a huge impact on pubs. We even had that one video where Tim the Tatman won a game with his monitor turned off while he was in a mech. It was a ridiculous season that went on for way too long, and a lot of people ended up stopping, their Fortnite experience right there. But it ended with the black hole, which consumed the season and wiped Fortnite clean for a new start. But Season X still happened, and I think Season X is probably one of the worst seasons of Fortnite to ever exist. If I could put it in its own category, I would. We are going to rate Season X as a bad season. Just overall a bad season. Now we're moving into Fortnite Chapter 2. Let's talk about Fortnite Chapter 2. We had Season X and we needed a restart. We needed something fresh. So we got Fortnite Chapter 2. They added boats, they added fishing, completely new map. It was a very exciting start. It felt like we were playing Fortnite again from the very beginning. It was a very basic season, not a lot of introduced items, a lot of just, very basic stuff, AR, shotguns, nades. And we got this new map to explore. The problem with Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1 is it lasted forever. This is one of the longest seasons ever with very minimal updates. This is back when we started doing the fashion shows, because there was just really nothing to do because there was very little updates. I think the biggest update that we had in Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1 was the introduction of the harpoon. They were talking about they were switching engines, which is why it was taking so long, and it was a very weird time for content creation, and the game was so bland. And it was nice to have a refresh, but the refresh and the kind of the bland, blank state lasted so long that this season was actually a bad season, in my opinion. I'm gonna have to put Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1 in the bad category. All right, Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 2. We got Midas, we got these mythic bosses, we got these vaults and mythic weapons. This was a very new mechanic to the game. It really spiced things up. I think this season, in my opinion, had a lot of good things going for it. We finally got some spice. This season did still take very, very long. It did get extended multiple times before we got to Fortnite Chapter Season 3, which is why I'm not going to put it in the best category. But this season did change enough and did have some memorable moments. We had the agency introduced and a few other good changes. The mythic weapons were, cool additions to the game that we never had before. So Chapter 2 Season 2 had some good changes, had some decent updates. It still dragged on a very, very long time, but I think it was good enough and memorable enough to put it in the good category. All right, Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 3. Pumps are gone again. We have the charged shotgun, one of the most frustrating weapons introduced into Fortnite. There were a lot of issues with the charged shotgun, and the entire map was covered in water. I was a fan of that. I didn't mind the water map, but some people did not like it at all. We had sharks. We did have a huge, secret skin, which was the Aquaman. I think that was really cool. We kept, pushing the collaborations. Fortnite Season 3, it did some things good. We still had some mythic weapons, but also, the removal of the pump, some of the other changes, like the whole map being covered in water. Some people, it wasn't a fan favorite in my opinion. I would say it was a pretty average season. It wasn't bad, wasn't great. I would say it's in the average category for sure. Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 4, the Marvel season. Okay, I'm a fan of Marvel, and I was a fan of the Marvel Battle Pass. Some people were not, but I think everything that happened leading up to the final event with Galactus, there was so much hype around the season. The season was not extended or delayed. It ran its course, had some really good moments, and it finished. We also had some people come back to the game towards the end of the season. Nick Merckx made a return, Ninja, and a few other people. So this season kind of reeled some people back in. Had a lot of cool moments. The mythic abilities and Marvel abilities that were added were really cool. I was a big fan of the Venom one. And those abilities didn't really leak into competitive, which is awesome. We finally started getting separation of, pub loot pool and competitive loot pool. And competitive was kind of thriving this season because of that. And so were casual games. I love the story with Galactus. I love the inclusion of Marvel as a whole battle pass. It was really cool to see Fortnite pull that off. And then it ended with one of the best live events that we ever witnessed. The fight against Galactus was insane. So many people watched that. Some people were hyped about the next season. And I think Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 4, honestly, was one of the best seasons. I know some people are going to think back. You're going to think back to some of these older seasons and you're going to be like, wait, it's better than the older seasons of Fortnite? Here's the thing. When I'm ranking these, I'm trying to rank them in a way where I'm not thinking nostalgically. When I think back to the good old days when everyone was playing, there were still a lot of problems back then. There's still a lot of complaints. But when you think back, you kind of think back on the good things more than the bad. So I'm trying to be fair here and trying to remove the nostalgia bias and not just think back about how, it was really cool to play Fortnite for the very first time, but actually judge these seasons for the content and the gameplay and the experience that it gave. All right. I don't have a slot here for Chapter 2 Season 5, but, Chapter 2 Season 5, it's still kind of a newish season. I think it has some pretty good potential to be a great season. There's been some really good changes. I love the map changes in Season 5, the center map, the sand. I love the introduction of the vendors. I think that it has a possibility to be in the best category if the vendors get updated, and also the current state of shotguns. I made a video talking about that as well. I'm pretty sure this Chapter 2 Season 5 is going to go on until March. So there's still a lot of changes that are coming into the season. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching this Fortnite season ranking. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.